You are Locked On Cougs, your daily podcast on the Houston Cougars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
The NCAA Tournament is here, and so is the Bracket Breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA Tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
Locked On Cougs host Parker Ainsworth here to talk about Houston and the Gonzaga victory and the continued history that will go on in Houston. Now, I think the stat everyone pointed out is that going to this game, Houston and Gonzaga had both had the longest two streaks, had the longest two streaks of consecutive Sweet 16s that were active. Gonzaga was at 9. Houston was at 5. And with the win over Gonzaga, Houston now has the longest consecutive Sweet 16 streak at 6, the active one, I should say, at 6. Gonzaga obviously starts over and will probably restart another great streak next year, if we're being really honest, right? Mark Few's that kind of coach. But I don't know that just saying longest active streak is the best way to point out how unique this is. People that have had longer than 6 would be the Gonzaga team that just broke off their 9-year streak, right? 9 Sweet 16 streak. We got to make sure you use consecutive Sweet 16s. Years includes 2020, but there was no term. Anyway, Carolina went to 9 as well, between 85 and 92. I think I have that right, 85 and 92. Duke went to 7 straight from 86 to 92, and 9 straight from 98 to 06. Now, Parker, you're talking about a lot of things since 1985. They played college basketball for 1985. The tournament shifted to a 64-team format, which is the most like this current format with 68 teams that it ever looked like, right? The first time it looked something like this in 1985, right? That dramatically changes the idea of what making a Sweet 16 is, because you got to win a couple games to get there all of a sudden, right? And what Houston just did is launch themselves into closer to that Duke, Carolina, Gonzaga category than the Kansas, Kentucky, Michigan category they were in. 5 straight programs, 5 straight Sweet 16s appearances for programs like Kansas from 93 to 97, Kentucky 95 to 99, Michigan from 2017 to 2022. Well, I'm not going to talk about one of those that Michigan had in Michigan, right? That's a really big deal. That's a changing of what stratosphere you're looking at. You're talking about like Houston's now more comparable or getting closer to comparable with the Dukes and Carolina histories of the world as far as where we're at right now than anything else, right? The other thing I'll point out is as far as Houston history goes, they've only got 6 seasons of 32 or more wins. They're currently in their 4th consecutive season of having 32 or more wins. That's bonkers. Think about the Elvin Hayes of the world, the Five Slam Jamas of the world. 2/3 of all seasons that won 32 or more games in Houston have come in the last 4 years. Again, a great history for college basketball, but this is a golden era, right? Individually, and I do like looking at stats on these two guys, LJ Cryer and Joanne Roberts, truly doing special things. I've talked about how LJ Cryer is going to have a very good claim, especially if the season ends like it could for Houston. LJ Cryer have a really good claim for being the greatest Big 12 player of all time, even if he's neither the greatest Baylor or Houston player, but like the greatest Big 12 player of all time, right? Because of his cumulative work. That was his third. The Gonzaga game was LJ Cryer's third 30-point outing in his career. That's all 3 tied for his career high. His second of those at Houston this year. He won at Baylor a couple years back. That's his 5th game of 28 or more, right? His 3rd at Houston this year. All 3 of his ones at Houston's were at this year. That's also the 3rd of those kinds of games with 28 or more points that LJ Cryer had in the tournament. 19 of his 25 highest scoring games actually come in the last 2 years at Houston, and LJ Cryer's teams are a remarkable 31-5 That's an incredible season if you did it over the course of a season, when he scores 20 or more points. Now, there may be a day where Houston needs him to score more than 30 points, right? But 16 points in the first half, 14 points in the second half, doing it from 2, doing it from 3, doing it from the foul line. He does it wherever they need it. LJ Cryer is continuing to climb up record books in terms of scoring. But I want to stress that, like, a lot of people gave him flack for late season performances. That 31-5 when he breaks 20 implies that they need him to do that, right? 3 times a tournament, he's had 28 or more points, implies that he's showing up when it's do or die. And that's what he was able to do on Saturday. But this stat, this individual stat I'll leave you with is fan favorite Juwan Roberts. I don't know how fan favorite Juwan Roberts doesn't seem to accurately depict how important he is to this program. He's the winningest player in the history of University of Houston basketball. Again, a great history with Hall of Fame caliber talent coming through it, right? After Saturday, Juwan Roberts is officially 38 rebounds shy of Hakeem Olajuwon for the most rebounds in Houston Cougar history. Houston can have as many as 4 games left, right? As many as 4 games left. He has 38 rebounds to go. If they had Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final Four, National Championship game, knock on wood, I'm not sure, but that would be as many as 4 games left with 38 rebounds to go. If he had more than 9 rebounds per game, right, he would hit it, right? If he had 9 in 2 games, 10 in 2 games, he'd hit it, right? He's had 9 or more rebounds in 37 games in his career, most of which have been in the last 3 seasons. There's a real chance, a very, very real chance that the same program that gave you Hakeem Olajuwon is going to have all-time rebounding leader Juwan Roberts. Now, he already has all the wins. If he gets all the rebounds too, I mean, if this team goes that far, we're talking about a lot of guys getting their jerseys in the hanging up in Fertitta. But oh my Lord, I don't think we because he's such a great culture guy, because he's a fantastic person. I don't know. We think about like how statistically great Juwan Roberts' career has been. But man, oh man, are we getting to watch a great one. Now, this week, we got to get ready for Purdue. Spring football practices are underway. We're working on some stuff with that. Looks like the women's basketball program may be making a hire. We kind of have a lot of stuff to get into. I also want to, before we get too far past this game, look back at some X and O's and get on the chalkboard and talk about breaking a press, breaking the trap, and how those things are different. I've got some initial thoughts on Purdue, but anyway, we got lots to get into here at Locked On Coogs. So hit subscribe, hit the bell so you know we're live. We'll talk to you each and every day. We'll be live post-game as late as that will be on Friday as well. So again, hit the bell so you know we're live. Locked On Coogs, primarily Locked On podcast. I'm going to enjoy your team every day. Go Cougs.